Matt Bernier for RacingPicks.com with three selections for Saturday, November the 14th from all across North America. The common denominator, they're 2-year-old stakes races. One from Laurel, one from north of the border at Woodbine, and one from Southern California at the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. Let's start at Laurel Park in Laurel, Maryland. 2-year-olds going 6 furlongs on the main track. It's the James F. Lewis III Stakes. There were 3 horses in this race that I was really intrigued by. The 4, the 6, and the 7. I ultimately landed on the number 7. Kenny Had a Notion, 4-1 on the morning line for Dale Capuano. This is a horse who most recently won the Maryland Million Nursery Stakes at Laurel Park, going this 6 furlong distance. And I thought he did it really impressively. I understand maybe the trip, if you just look at it and say, well, he saved every inch of ground. How impressive was that really? Fine, I'm not going to argue with you about the ground situation, but in the grand scheme of things, he was the only horse who was close to the pace throughout that was anywhere at the end. And not only was he anywhere, he opened up, leveled off very nicely, and won by 5 lengths. The speed figure may look a little bit on the more pedestrian side with the 77, but when you factor in that the runner-up, who he defeated by 5 lengths, always in a hurry, returned to win next out with the 70 buyer, that race looks that much more impressive. Again, I did like the number 6 Airport. I think that's an interesting horse rallying from off the pace. And I think the number 4 Dalton makes all the sense in the world. A horse who was narrowly defeated by next out graded stakes winner Pick and Time. He ultimately went on to win the Nashua at Aqueduct with an 82 buyer speed figure. So I like those other horses. Don't get me wrong, but I think the price is going to be right on the number 7. Kenny Had a Notion. 4-1 on the morning line. I think you probably get somewhere around there. I would say between 3-1 and 5-1, somewhere in that sort of pecking order. And to me, that represents fair value. Let's go north of the border. 2-year-old fillies, 6.5 furlongs on the synthetic. It's the South Ocean Stakes. And this is a race where there is a morning line favorite in Sun Sprite, who's 8-5. And on figures, she doesn't have any real edge on the rest of the competition. Now, she does like to win races and likes to run well. She's 2 for 3 lifetime. She's never been out of the exacta in 3 lifetime starts. I don't want to take anything away from her because there is something to be said about that, especially for young horses. But from a number standpoint, she really doesn't have any sort of edge on the other girls, and she's going to be a fraction of their price. A horse who certainly needs to step her game up to run with these, but I think there's reason to believe she will move forward is the number 2, Jilly Marie, at 10-1. Now, Jilly Marie is a horse who in the most recent start, the only start to date, the career debut, was 13-1. Raced well enough down the backside, rounding the far turn, was loaded for bear, unfortunately had nowhere to go. Was shut off quite badly and checked pretty good at the top of the lane. For most horses, especially young 2-year-olds, and especially running on a track like a synthetic surface, or even worse, turf, losing that sort of momentum, they would shut it down. But Jilly Marie instead actually found a little bit more. She shot down to the inside and finished full of run. She got her final 1/8 of a mile in 12 seconds flat. For me, it's the combination of the fact that she didn't stop running. She didn't get discouraged when she got stopped at the top of the lane. And not only did she continue on, but she actually found another gear. I think that's a pretty impressive debut, and I think it's an effort that maybe she doesn't win this race, but I think at the very least she can get a piece of this thing at 10-1 on the morning line. Because of her odds, I'm going to make her the play of the day on Saturday. 10-1, the number 2, Jilly Marie for Katerina Vasilieva. I think this is an interesting runner. Again, I'm not going to argue with anyone that says she's not fast enough right now, but the runner-up, who she'll run into again, came back and won next out with a 55 buyer. The 4th place finisher came back and earned a 62. Jilly Marie, I think she takes a step forward here. If she doesn't get stopped in that race, she wins even more impressively. She'll be the play of the day based on her price, her likely price anyway, at 10-1 and the 8 at Woodbine. And let's move on to the 8 at Del Mar. We'll wrap things up. And this is going to be a very, very short price, but I think a very logical horse. Talking about the Desi Arnaz, 6.5 furlongs on the main track. And the number 2, Private Mission for Bob Baffert. 1 of 3 in here for Baffert. Baffert's barn is rolling along. What else is new? This horse, the way that she debuted down at Santa Anita, they paid $750,000 for her. She was supposed to be something good. She went out there, and I don't think she could have been much more impressive the way that she won that race. Ultimately, the runner-up that day came back and earned a 71 buyer in her next start, sort of flattering the form, if you will, if you're a numbers fan and looking for sort of things to check out. So Private Mission, she won impressively from off the pace in the debut. I expect her to be involved throughout every step of the way here in the Desi Arnaz. She's 9-5 on the line. I don't know that you get that. She probably ends up going closer to odds on or in that even money range. I just think Private Mission makes a lot of sense in here. So maybe you don't get a ton of value from a win standpoint, but she's a horse I think you can build your exotic wagers around, whether you're playing exactas, trifectas, superfectas, or if you're playing the multi-race wagers, pick 4, pick 5, pick 6, yada, yada, yada. So the number 2, Private Mission, I will make her the top pick in the Desi Arnaz race number 8 at Del Mar on Saturday afternoon. She's 9 to 5 on the morning line. So 3 selections, a little bit of everything mixed in there. Again, 1 from Laurel, 1 from Woodbine, and 1 from the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club, for Saturday, November the 14th over on racingpicks.com. And again, please make sure you subscribe to racingpicks.com. It's very easy and it is free. All you need to do, enter your email address, and you are loaded with free content throughout the week from the likes of myself, Andrew Champagne, among others. Come join us over on racingpicks.com.